At this point, I'm pretty sure my channel has been blacklisted, you know, flagged or shadow banned or some shit. Pretty sure. It's tinfoil hat time, y'all. I don't think it's any secret that YouTube has been up to some pretty nefarious shit the past few years, really. From planting channels and personalities, to giving preferential treatment to some of the most problematic people on the platform, to creating intentionally vague guidelines for content creators as to what is and what is not considered suitable for advertisers. I'm saying, YouTube, y'all bitches lack subtlety. It is interesting to me to see that they do bother to make half-hearted attempts at concealing what they're actually doing, and those half-hearted attempts are really just lying. Suze, why you always lying? But judging just from my experience as a content creator, things have gotten more sinister than ever before. At this point, there is no doubt in my mind, and to be fair, there was really no doubt before, YouTube has a very particular agenda, and that agenda is being executed. Because I know a lot of the creators who I watch, and also to as well me myself personally, we are all experiencing some old bullshit when it comes to content suppression, demonetization, and other things like such as. But while all of this is happening, YouTube is still committing to the bit. In the face of these accusations that YouTube is punishing certain channels or certain types of content, which by the way has been proven, YouTube's consistent response has been, nuh-uh, Not too long ago, I did a video, or actually a couple videos, where I talked about this very issue. And now there's a leaf blower going outside. Dope. Not too long ago, I did a video where I got into this issue and I really dug into why I think it's extremely likely that YouTube is favoring, if not outright partnering with and planting certain channels like Spill or The Van Chick. And wouldn't you know it, ever since those videos, I've had an even harder time on this platform. In short, I believe that YouTube is actively disincentivizing this platform for anyone who doesn't conform, for anyone who doesn't fall in line. They want to make YouTube not worth it for anyone who they see as off-brand for what they want this platform to be, and or anyone who's a troublemaker. So that is nearly all of the channels that I actually like to watch, and also me. It's so me, I'll be pretty shocked if this video doesn't get demonetized. Deadass, as soon as I started being openly critical of this platform, and perhaps more to the point where I started being openly critical of the creators that they so clearly favor on this platform, I started getting demonetized on the regular. On top of that, I and so many other creators who talk about racism, social issues, current events, we've had to create bizarre spellings and codes for potentially inflammatory words in our video titles and even thumbnails just to try to stay one step ahead of these bots. It's pretty much guaranteed that if I put a phrase like black women in a video title, it is going to be demonetized before it's even finished uploading. I say this because it has happened. Evidently, simply referring to black women is not suitable for advertisers. And yet, even with taking these ridiculous and sometimes extreme precautions with our content, so many of us continue to be demonetized, often on videos that don't even approach being controversial. It's at a point where I'm pretty much guaranteed to get dinged on literally anything I upload. It started off with all of my live streams, and I mean all of them, getting demonetized, which both then and now I attribute at least partially to the bots scanning the chat transcript from y'all that's going on while I'm talking. So I think they're scanning that for inflammatory words, as well as the auto-generated captions after I end the live stream and it's done processing in YouTube. But then there was a turning point where I reviewed The Lion King, and even that was demonetized. Yeah, you heard that right. They dinged me on a review of a kids movie. And that trend has continued. It seems that regardless of content, at this point, I am going to get demonetized. For us YouTubers, you know, being able to earn AdSense off of our content is kind of important. I do realize that there are always going to be some people who think that it's unreasonable for us to expect anything at all for the hours and hours and hours of work that we put into creating content on this platform. But I'm glad we're at a point where that is no longer the norm. I'm glad that most people don't think that way. Most people are not that dense. Whether we're talking about someone who does YouTube full time or we're talking about someone who does YouTube as a hobby side hustle hybrid, we produce entertainment which adds value and keeps people on this platform. We produce a product and we should be able to earn money for that product. Now, don't cry for me, Argentina. I am appealing my videos as soon as I see that they've been hit. And most of the time, I am able to get monetization back, but this gets deeper. When you get dinged on a video and request a manual review, they call it, YouTube can take pretty much as long as they want to conduct that review, which means that they can keep you in AdSense purgatory for the entire peak viewership for that video. In my experience, you are most likely to get demonetized within the first 1 to 3 hours of a video going public. And that's assuming that you actually make it out of the upload process without getting demonetized during the upload, because yes, that does happen. But if you do get hit and you are under review, waiting for YouTube to reinstate monetization, if they reinstate it at all, I have had to wait many times well over 48 hours. In a related story, peak viewership for the average YouTube video is nearly always during the first 48. So essentially, YouTube is stopping your bag, not to mention their own bag, because they do take a cut, by preventing you from being able to run ads when your video will more than likely get over 50% of its lifetime views. Best of all, whether you get your monetization back or not, you will likely never know why exactly you were demonetized in the first place. Even if you censored yourself within an inch of your life, even if you didn't include any copyrighted or otherwise not allowed materials, YouTube's rulings on what is and what is not advertiser friendly are nebulous by design. They never ever tell you the what or why when it comes to your video being demonetized after a manual review, and that's whether it goes in your favor or not. You'll never know why it was demonetized and stayed that way, or why it was demonetized temporarily and then got remonetized. In other words, you won't ever really know specifically what you did wrong. Now, to be fair, some videos do get reviewed more quickly than others. Interestingly enough, for me, the videos that tend to be under review for days on end are the ones that deal in social or current events, which, wouldn't you know it, have the shortest shelf life and are even more beholden to that critical first 48 hours window from an AdSense perspective. Taking this conspiracy theorizing one step farther, I've noticed that in the cases where they're really dragging ass on that review, the videos flatline in views in a very unnatural way immediately after remonetization. What I'm saying is the drop-off in views is not commensurate with how the video was performing while it was demonetized. Let's get deeper still. Before y'all ever see my videos here on YouTube, my Patreon fam gets to see them early if they are in my notification gang or ride or die tiers. It's one of the benefits that I offer to my patrons. In that Patreon exclusivity window, while I disable most types of ads, I do still keep monetization on just so I can make sure that I'm going to be okay once it actually does populate here on YouTube and show up in y'all's feeds. Basically, I'm just trying to track the video and make sure that I'm not going to get dinged. In that window when my patrons get to see the video earlier, I'm basically testing the waters to see if I'm going to get demonetized on it. And it should serve as a great way to test whether I'm going to get demonetized. However, that ain't the case. Each and every time, the content only gets demonetized after it goes public on YouTube, aka only after it actually has potential to earn any real AdSense. They lie in wait for hours or even days so that you think you're good to go, and then punch you in the dick once you finally release the hounds and put your video in people's subscription feeds. I can only speak to what's happening with my own content because I don't be tracking other people's views like that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But I can say it seems to me that if YouTube doesn't like your content, that they have systems in place to reduce, if not completely eliminate, your ability to earn from that content. It's not about being advertiser friendly, it's about censorship and suppressing content that they don't like. Even if they can't find a justifiable reason to keep your video demonetized permanently based on their own ill-defined standards, they'll still demonetize the video when it matters the most. Then, if and when they do finally reinstate monetization, they will throttle your ability to earn henceforth by suppressing that content. Further anecdotal evidence comes from you guys telling me things like you haven't seen videos from me in your feed even though you're still subscribed. Or those of you who tell me that you were phantom unsubscribed from me. I've even had people tell me that they liked a video of mine, went back to look at it later, and the like didn't stick, it had vanished. Again, just more anecdotal evidence countering this whole song and dance of YouTube denying that any of these things are happening. YouTube makes more than enough money to worry about forfeiting whatever they would make off of a creator like me. Therefore, they prioritize these punitive practices, that's a lot of P's, to continue to disincentivize the platform for creators like me. Even with these hindrances, though, I'm still extremely fortunate and grateful for this opportunity. Is that Stockholm Syndrome? Really, though, so many of y'all are unreasonably helpful and thoughtful and supportive. From all y'all who tell me that you sit through the ads, to rewatching my old videos, to sharing my videos. Really, just the kind of shit that is beyond the call. Y'all don't gotta do any of that. It really is overwhelming, and I thank you. And obviously, my Patreon fam. I was hesitant to start a Patreon for years because there was just always a kind of stigma, for me at least, associated with Patreon. And in the end, I just had this extremely obvious epiphany. I literally can't make you sign up for it, and nor would I want to. So it's nice to have it there for those who do want to support, and that's it. Simples. It is still extremely early on, but I'm so grateful to all y'all who have signed up because it takes off a lot of that pressure that comes with worrying about demonetization and algorithms and views. It is thanks to all y'all, Patreon fam or not, that I'm finally in a position that I'm even able to call this a hobby / side hustle, because I've been losing money creating the content on this channel for, I don't know, my entire YouTube career. I don't think I had a single month where I was not in the red after accounting for my time and expenses until this past summer. And that is 100% thanks to y'all showing up for me when I started to take bigger risks in terms of the content that I do on this channel. Risks like devoting an entire video to talking about how this platform is hot garbage. But I think it's important to do because I watch a lot of YouTube, and I know a lot of y'all watching make videos too, and I know some of y'all are experiencing some of these same things that I'm talking about. Bet. Now, calling YouTube out is not going to put a stop to these practices. In fact, they will likely intensify. Nonetheless, I think it's important to talk about these things and make it known that we see exactly what is happening. I always say I am a YouTube fan before I'm a YouTuber. We have the power to support the creators we want to support. It just might take a little bit more work than it should. But if anything, this experience of being flagged or shadow banned or whatever has inspired me to be a better subscriber. If I haven't seen a video from someone who I know posts on the regular in a while, I will go to his or her page and check to make sure that there's not a content suppression situation. I've also started to follow a lot more people on Instagram to help me keep up with when they're actually posting new content. And if you use an ad blocker, and I know some of y'all do, tisk tisk, consider turning it off for, or maybe even just whitelisting your favorite channels. And for my comrades, my fellow content creators who I know are getting dinged just as much as I am. In the event they haven't been demonetized on that particular video and an ad actually plays, I'm sitting through those hoes and letting the ads play. Thank God for mute. Anyway, that is going to do it for today's meeting of the Tinfoil Hat Gang. Thank you so much for watching my videos at all, let alone watching it all to wait to now, the very end. But now that I've gotten all that off my chest, I just want to leave y'all with one gentle reminder. Never trust anyone with a Morphe code. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.